And then they shipped us off to
Regina,
Saskatchewan. But if any of you think changing our name is gonna change the Falcons, forget about it.
All right.
Look at what's happened to me. I can't believe it myself.
Now, the box says to bake for 21 minutes. No. Now the trick is, we're gonna put it in for 22 minutes.
I actually gotta do the video, don't I? Ooh, hey, I'm MarsReviews, and I'm about to probably shit myself, to be honest. Canada, why are you back in my office? I don't like you. I really don't like you. And I hate you. Forget About It was a show. By the way, it's fucking canceled, but it was a show about a family. But not a regular family. This family, they committed some no-nos. Maybe with the mafia. That's what I've heard. I'm not no rat. So, some dinner for schmucks featuring Steve Carell and Ant-Man on Patreon requested me to talk about this piece of entertainment. And boy, am I really excited.
If I saw you in the street, I'd hit you with my fucking car.
So Forget About It is a Canadian series about the Falcons, the Falcons, and how they have to relocate to Canada after the absolute unit Jimmy Falcone, New York capo, assassinated the Don for putting a hit on his uncle, Lanky Kong, for being a big blabbermouth telling people things they shouldn't. Like the boss's fashion sense is kinda whack. I mean, he kinda has a point there. Look at it, it's kind of a clusterfuck. And he has a small wiener. So after basically yeeting the Don for 600 feet up, the boys are a little mad. The boys are not a little mad, they're actually pretty big mad. So Jimmy works with the feds, which seems to be a very popular option now with his friends, and went into witness protection and moved up north where he is very discontent with living there. So much so, they open up each and every episode stating basically the same proclamation.
Anyway, if any of you think that starting a new life in Regina is gonna change the Falcons,
McDougal's,
forget about it.
Yeah, there it is, there it is.
I usually really love when shows do something for an intro, having an original opening gag. It was one of my favorite aspects of the MTV show that nobody gives a rat's ass about. But this, I can't even lie to myself saying I like this part of the show. It's not even true. It's so corny and lame each and every time. The place is called Regina, but he calls it Vagina. And his wife is visibly angry each time. Alright guys, I don't know about you, but I'm giving this one, I'm giving it a light Lamal. Maybe a slight lull. And then they make comments on how lame their intro is later down the series, and then don't do anything to really make it funny after the fact. And then after every time, he says,
Forget about it.
It transitions into this fucking abysmal theme song.
Let me tell you something about a friend of ours named Jimmy. I made the wise guy and the capo with the gun.
Just fucking kill me. Just fucking kill me.
I am killing you.
You wanna know what I hate most? When my toothpaste is a little too dry in the tube where you gotta squeeze real hard, and then somehow I end up with crest all over my Nikes. You wanna know what I hate second? It's when shows like this I gotta talk about. I was actually disappointed in this. Weird, I know. Like this show, you mean to tell me there's a cartoon about the mafia? I'm actually intrigued. You got my attention. I love The Godfather. I watched Once Upon a Time in America with full stop and no breaks, and I sat through nearly 4 hours of Robert Downey Jr. What? Why the fuck did I say Robert Downey Jr.? It's fucking Robert De Niro. Am I just confusing my Roberts? Noodles, how'd you get that flying device? Also, why are you black? Regardless, a lot of no-nos in that one. Also, I really like that movie. The movie's pretty cool. I got my Sopranos right here. And boy, there's some messed up stuff in here.
You are not to play Mario Kart or go skateboarding for 3 weeks. And no TV.
And what do you know? What do I end up with? Another adult cartoon that's not really that funny, but has a cool premise at least. But on its best day, it's mediocre and unsatisfying. You have a predictable and boring ensemble cast of characters I find hard to really give two shits and a fuck about the majority of the conflicts they find themselves in. And the conflicts they find themselves in are nothing really that special, especially if you watch like 10 or more adult cartoons centered around a family of, hey, what do you know?
1, 2, 3.
And the main jokes about both Italian, American, and Canadian culture coming to a clash because of cultural misunderstandings, most of the time are so fucking basic that I've heard these way too often. Yes, poutine, from an outsider's perspective, is gross. Cheese curds? Sounds like cheese turds. I mean, I'm not saying they're not right, but it's like I've been hearing the same joke passed around on like, what, fucking world history in high school? But also, like I say, a good majority of the humor kind of just plays off of cheap stereotypes, and sometimes they can be slightly entertaining. But a lot of it is just shit like this. Boy, those Italians really love that spaghetti. Boy, I'll tell you what, he made a sculpture of a spaghetti. That's how much he likes it, because he's Italian, and Italians eat spaghetti, and Italians love spaghetti.
This is the male penis and testicles.
To Italian. Canadians are such pushover fucks and nice guys. I got arrested for hurting their feelings. Canada, nut up. The French, am I right or am I right? Eh? Eh? Oui, oui. Escargot. Schwa, schwa. Schwa, schwa, schwa. That's all it says. That's all this character says. He's sex crazed weirdo, and he says schwa.
Schwa, 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 schwa. And if we could find just one with a schwa, 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 schwa.
Then there's actual jokes about actual mafia movies, and they're fine. When they do appear, they're pretty brief and not much to complain about on that front. Every once in a while, this show does have a line that makes me chuckle. This show, at its best, is kind of just a bunch of chuckles, but they don't usually really last that long, and not ones that will sit in my memory. I'm not going to be able to recount any of these jokes like 6, 3, or even 1 month from now. And a good portion of the entertainment that can be found within this show mostly are with two characters who I think if you just made the whole show about these two, I think that you probably would have had a little bit more entertaining of a show. And those characters are Jimmy and Cheech. I actually kind of like Cheech. He's just kind of a weirdo rando who says random dumb shit. Sometimes it's humorous and other times it's just him having to do something stupid because nothing really funny happened in the last 4 minutes of this episode and I need Cheech to really do something to bail me out. And the main character, Jimmy Falcone, isn't really that awful. He has some lines that's alright. I kind of like his smug New York attitude and don't mind him being the main protagonist, but everyone else frankly kind of sucks. First off, their witness protection officer, who is literally just that Canadian guy from the Rocky and Bullwinkle show.
Lead lost. These service station maps are impossible. Can't even fold up the thing. I think I should have turned left at that last tree.
Will you two stop? This kind of behavior is not Canadian. We are a polite people who keep our true feelings bottled up.
Listen, I'm not a 100-year-old Rocky and Bullwinkle fan, so if you like that because of that, then good on you, but I just hate his voice. I don't find it endearing. I just don't find the running joke where he just screams, "For Canada!" and states either some fact about Canada or just some complete and utter nonsense at all. Jimmy's family is so uninteresting. His wife, while being much more abrasive than most adult cartoon moms, ends up being less unique or interesting than any of them, just sort of filling a quota of a much more responsible bitching mom. The only good moments with her is when she's talking to her little Mary figure because she's like a strong Catholic, and it's funny not because of her, but mostly because I think the voice acting on Mary is pretty good.
If he ain't getting it from you, he's getting it from someone. Ah! Okay, quit your blubbering. Look, Joseph wasn't giving me the time of day either. Then I hop into bed with God, suddenly he's all over me.
Both of Jimmy's daughters are exactly what you'd expect. An older daughter who's obsessed with money and clothes, and the joke is she has a delusional perspective on how the world works and is kind of an entitled idiot. All the comedy with her is all the same, leading me to become very bored whenever she's like the main center focus of a B-plot line. Look, it's a young kid not doing doing young kid things. It's even aggressive and evil. It's funny because it's like a small 4-year-old child. It's like a Stuart Griffin. Oh my fucking god, it has a gun. Hello, is this TBS? I want to report a very funny.
That's TBS.
And then you have Jimmy's son, who we can't have all of them be terrible New York mobsters, so we need a sensible one, the voice of reason, DeLisa to The Simpsons. So they essentially just combine, let's say, like 2 characters that work on their own. Haley, I guess, from American Dad, this activist character, mixed it with like a horny loser like Steve, making this sort of example unintentionally incestual, goddammit, and making it into one character, and you end up with my hand slowly progressing to the fucking skip episode button. He's just annoying. In voice acting, in character, and even in appearance. Bruh. So far, I'm not really digging this show's humor. They have only really one rollover laughing moment, and that's because of my love of the word epic, which they repeatedly say in this beautiful sequence.
Let's go to the man on the street, vigilante. Epic or not epic?
Epic! It's also the Cabbage Festival, so double epic!
Correct!
Not epic.
Go to hell!
Epic. He's protecting our children, keeping drugs off the street. That's epic.
Keeping drugs off the street, not epic. Vigilante, epic. Now over to Brick Fitman with sports.
Epic!
I thought it was going insane when I saw this scene. I was half asleep.
Barbecue sauce on my titties.
Had this minimized, playing Minecraft, and I just hear epic like 30 fucking times. Also, playing Minecraft is really the only way I would really suggest you watching this show. If you can't tell by what's going on screen, I suggest carrots. They have a lot of vitamin A in them, and that's good for you, I think. I'm not a doctor. But also, this show looks pretty bad. There's a plethora of pretty bland looking shows that stem from Canada, and by no means is Forget About It the worst, but it's certainly not doing anything really that impressive either. I just hate a lot of the designs, and again, the 2 most tolerable characters to me have the least disgusting designs, and that's saying something when Cheech's arms look like they extend all the way to the ground. Though I much prefer Jimmy's pilot look than this. Not much has really changed, I just think his natural smug dick face was much better there, but ugh. His wife is so fucking ugly, with her weird shaped head and half-closed eyes, and ugh. Her son's shovel chin isn't really much better, and Teresa, this character, everyone keeps going on saying, oh, I wanna fuck her, it looks like this. Listen, it just ain't that good. It's probably the reason I was asked to talk about it, but I don't know his or her reasons. But unless you're really pining for a mediocre cartoon about mob people who make mafia movie references and punch down on obvious Canadian stereotypes with bland art, then this is your jam. I'll give it this. You can watch it for free on YouTube. That's cool. But for me, it was just like eating the driest piece of toast in the world. No butter, no jam, not even a complimentary orange juice, just dry, burnt toast.